Hello and welcome. Janet Beckers here, and today we are talking about money and actually having some great systems in place that allow you to feel in control of everything that is happening financially in your business. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You will have control over all of that. So what I'm going to share with you is a strategy that I implement in my business called the Monday Money Meeting. So the 3 M's, the Monday Money Meeting. It's a meeting that happens every Monday, usually between 8 and 9 a.m. and it only goes for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to share with you who I do that meeting with and who may be the right person for you to have that meeting with. And I'm going to go over why you would do this, what the objective of this meeting is, and then also go over like the things that I actually do in that meeting. So, what do I do to prepare for it? What happens after it? And what's the agenda? So I'm going to hopefully this is going to help you as well to feel totally in control of everything that's happening with the finances in your business. Even if at the moment it may be something that you're ignoring, or it might be something that you think you're doing quite well and this may help you to do it even better, or if it's something that's overwhelming you and you know you need some systems. So there's lots of different things that you have in place to be able to help you to manage your business, the financial side of it. But this one simple strategy can make a huge difference to what you're doing. So it is the Monday Money Meeting. Now I have a resource for you that can help you to be able to work out what sorts of things you need to be looking at and to be able to assess how well you think that you're doing these things in your own business. Now, this is a checklist that I have called the business wheel of life. Now, if you go to romanceyourtribe.com/bizwheel, B-I-Z wheel, you will be able to get that. Now, the reason I'm giving you this here is this is a very special tool, a template that I have developed over the years of working with lots and lots of clients that looks at the 6 core areas in your business that are absolutely essential to success, and each of those divide into 2 different areas. So this template goes over each of those areas, helps you to work out what does success look like and what are the things that you can be doing to improve on. And the whole idea here is not perfection, okay? It's for you to be able to work out what little tweaks can I do to make things better. So one of those 6 areas is financial excellence. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So there's more details over there. If you go to romanceyourtribe.com/bizwheel, you'll be able to get that. And I'll put the links on the podcast page as well. So now let's dive in to the Monday Money Meeting and how does this tie together with the financial excellence part of the business wheel for a stable and successful and predictable business. All right, so first of all, the business wheel that I'm talking about, it actually divides into 2 when we talk about financial excellence. One is to do with systems that you have in place, like how easy is it to take money from people, and then what sort of reporting and what sorts of processes do you actually have in your business. And then the other part is the real clarity on what your goals are, what your KPIs are, and those sorts of things that are the real metrics and things in your business, the things that drive you so you know what you've got to do in order to make those successful goals. So one side is the clarity on the numbers, like what are your goals and how you're going to get there. And then the other one is like the processes. So what we're talking about here with the Monday Money Meeting fits in with this system, and you'll see that all the other things tie in. So this is sort of fitting into that like system that you've got in place that allows you to be able to have more control. So what is the Monday Money Meeting and why would you have it? So the Monday Money Meeting is meant to be kept short. It is not something that should consume an hour or so of your time every single week. Now, The reality is when you first start these Monday money meetings, you will find that there are certain things that you may not have in place yet to make it so you can do them efficiently. So the first few meetings may be a bit longer. But as you're developing your systems in place to be able to make the meetings more efficient, you should be able to get this down to a maximum of 15 minutes. Sometimes you can knock it over in just 5 or 10 minutes, okay? But it's an absolutely essential thing for you to do. So the reason for having a Monday money meeting is so you can look with the people who are important in helping you making decisions in the finances in your business. So you can look very quickly and be able to see, are we on track? Is the money coming in? Is the money going out to the right places? What are some things that we need to know that are coming up that we need to prepare for? And what are some things that we've got coming up that we need to make sure that we're totally on track, that they're working correctly, so we know we've got the money coming in? So this is the whole idea of the money meeting. It's for you to be able to have at a very good snapshot exactly how are we standing financially in the business right now. Now, as you can imagine, in order to be able to do that, you've got to have information to be able to bring into that meeting. So I'm going to cover with you what sort of information you need to have in order to make this happen so you can have this quick meeting. And I'll also talk about who comes along to this meeting. Okay, so first of all, let me talk about the who, because that's going to help you to know what sorts of things you need to bring along to the Monday money meeting. So for me, I have this meeting every Monday morning with my husband. It doesn't have to be like a formal meeting. It can very often happen over coffee, over a cafe, or, just at home, sitting on the veranda, or while we're having brekkie. So that's just something that has to be quick. It doesn't have to be this huge thing that you're doing. It's more important that you do it regularly and you have to prepare for it. Okay, so I do this with my husband because we have joint finances. We have joint financial goals. We have, we're both responsible for money coming in and we're both responsible for where that money gets spent. So because he is a person who it is important that, we both make decisions around our finances, that's who I have the meeting with. Now, he is not in my business full time. He certainly is involved in the business. But my business is one of those things that contribute to the money coming in and the money going out. So therefore, it's reporting on that money coming in and going out through there. So that's why it's being reported through there. So what happens if you don't have somebody that you have as a partner that is taking part in financial decisions? Is, well, if it's just you still have to have this meeting every single week with yourself and treat it the same as if there was somebody else that you were doing this with. Now, what I recommend that you do is you need to build in some kind of accountability. So with this accountability is you might go, okay, if I'm doing this on myself, is either if you have a bookkeeper or an accountant, you may be able to say to them, all right, I want to have to report to you and have this money meeting every single week. Or you might go, I'm going to do it myself 3 out of 4 weeks of the month, and once a month I will report to somebody else. But I really do recommend that you report to somebody else who has an understanding of your business and can report back to you, that knows exactly, what you're reporting on, and they can give you sound advice and also hold you accountable to what you've said is important. Okay, so that's the two situations that you may have. You may also have it that, you may have a business partner or somebody else who is in your business. You might want to have those financial meetings with them. So the important thing here is it has to be somebody else who is also affected by the decisions that you are making on the finances. So because these are the decisions, sometimes you need to have joint decisions that are being done on things. So that having it as your bookkeeper, your accountant, they are affected in a way because they're the person who is then going to be responsible for balancing the books, paying the taxes, those sorts of things. So that is who does it. Now, before we go further, I bet that there are a few of you there that are taking a big gulp at this moment, because you may have a relationship with your partner if you have one. This is in the case where I'm having these meetings with my husband. Sometimes this is going to bring up some stuff, okay, in your relationships, because they're then going to be saying to you, well, you know, if the business is not reaching the goals, or if you have not been doing in your business what you needed to do in order to get the results, you're going to be accountable to them. That can sometimes get really, really uncomfortable. So there's going to be some other discussions that you may need to have leading up to this, which may be around time frames about, okay, this is the phase I'm at in my business. This is what the goals are. So, you know, you may not necessarily be, they may be, so that you've got realistic expectations, if that makes sense. And a really good tool for you to use that is the business wheel. You can actually do that business wheel template and be able to show your partner, hey, I've got this template. It gives me control over what I need to focus on in my business. Now, I'll also put a link near this podcast to another article that I've got that I wrote, which is called the 7-Step Process to get your partner to support your dreams. And it's to have those conversations, those difficult conversations with the people in your life who may, without even realizing it, may be undermining you in your business. And so you need to have those discussions before you do the money meetings, okay? Otherwise they won't go well. So if that's you, just know I totally get it. You know, I've been there, done that, and continue to be there and do that. So it's one, what you want to do is to be able to have a framework, to be able to have these discussions. So I've got your back, okay? I've got the 7-step process to have that conversation. And then I've also got the business wheel for you. So you've got a template to be able to present to the person who you're communicating with so that you can see this is the plan, okay? So it's not then going to be around you having to sell yourself every time you have one of these meetings, okay? If what I've just said, then you're going, I don't get it. Like, what's the big deal here? That is so good for you, okay? But I know that there are a lot of people here that this is going to be uncomfortable. So just understand that, okay? And if you want any advice on that, just DM me, okay? Just send me a message and I'll have some resources to help you. So number one, if you need to have the difficult conversation first, do that. And I've got those 2 frameworks there to help you. Now, once you start having the meetings, you're going to need to have some kind of framework that you use during the meetings to keep things on track. And just as an aside, because the conversations that I'm talking about, the 7-step process to having that conversation to get support, using the business wheel template and then having this process during the meetings, in fact, has been really good for discussions with my husband around this. It means that we're on the same page. So, it means that we're using the same language and we both are involved in where we're going. So, just so you know that this actually can be a really positive communication tool in a relationship. So if that's something that's making you nervous now, just know, for me, this has worked exceptionally well. If I don't do it, then it can get a bit murky. Okay. So what do we actually do during the meetings? Now, I mentioned that when you first start off, it may actually take longer for these meetings. And that's because you may not have the processes in place in order to be able to say, here's the facts, here's the numbers, here's the data, okay? Because what you're wanting to be doing at this meeting is to be able to go over the following, okay? So the first thing that is really good to do right at the beginning of the meeting is to remind each other, what's our long-term goal here? And by long-term, it could be the whole big picture of like years down the track. But let's just narrow it back down to that when you've had a look at your plan for the year, and then also your 90-day plan, because your 90-day plan is the one that I've got some steps, I've got processes there for you for that. That 90-day plan is the actual action taking that you're going to be doing that heads you towards your goals. So you've got to remind each other, this is the goal. Now that goal may be a certain revenue amount. It may be something that you're wanting to purchase. It may be debt that you want to drop down and get rid of. Whatever it is that's your financial goal, just remind each other of what that is, okay? And you've actually taken the time to work that out. Not just said, oh, look, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year if you're not even making $100,000 yet. So that's, those number one. So if you haven't done that, I've got processes for doing all of that. Just connect with me. That's one of the things that I have in my Attract Your Tribe program. So number one is getting super clear on that. So if you haven't got that, you need to do that first, okay? But at your meeting, just remind yourself, okay, this is what we've already said is our goal. Because sometimes you might sort of forget and you start, talking about a specific goal that, that's not what we discussed to start with. So just remind yourself, this is what we're aiming for long term. Remind yourself, this is what we're aiming for, say, whatever the period of time that's working for you. It might be for the next 12 months. This is what we're aiming for. And then you're going to go back to, okay, so the 90-day plan, what's our goal for in this 90 days? Because we've already got our actions. So that's what you want to be able to refer back to. So if you haven't got those things yet, I've got the tools. But you'll need to know that before. Otherwise, if you don't start your meeting with that, you start to get bogged down in the little details and you've lost track of where it all fits in, why you're doing this and why these numbers are important, okay? So you're just going to be reminding yourself of that bit there. Now, when you've got your 90-day plan, now, 90-day plan doesn't mean that every single day you're the perfect, I'm not perfect Janet every day, but I will have this to know, I've got to get this done this 30-day period, because that's going to help me to reach these goals. So however it is that you work the best, whether you're a person that knows this is what I've got to have done by the month, or this is what I've got to have done in a 2-week sprint or a week or daily, whatever is the way that you work best energetically, you will then know, okay, what is my period of time that I am planning to achieve things here? So once you've got this, then you know what you're reporting on at this meeting. Okay, now once you've got clear on that, that's why I'm saying it might take you a little bit to start with, but how empowering is that you know, and you're being reminded every single week, my financial goal is this. And let's just start it off as, let's just assume, so I'm just going to take a situation where it might be, I've been struggling to get my business going and I am in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, of credit cards, from whatever reasons. Let's just go with that, okay? So we're going to start off there with that worst case scenario. Your scenario may be, I want to buy my second investment property this year, whatever it is. So let's just start as that as an example. So you might know, okay, I want by the end of 12 months to have paid off all debt, which means I need to have paid off this much in this amount of time, which means I need to earn this much to pay off that, whatever it is. So you know what your goals are. So how empowering when you're going there and you're going, you know what, we've set here as debt elimination as the goal. This is what our goal is. How far am I on track? So just substitute what your goal is here. I'm just choosing that one there because I don't want anybody listening here to go, she's talking about, retiring when I just can't dig myself out of this hole. So we're gonna talk to you, a beautiful person that needs to get out of this hole. Okay, this is going to give you the control. Once you know what your goal is, then these are the things that we talk about in our money meeting, reminding what the goal is. And then we want to look at these different things. And I'm just going to look back at my notes because this is actually taken from our agenda. The first thing that we want to look at is, okay, let's have a look at what has come in and what is going out. And so really what we're doing there is we're looking at cash flow, okay? Because really that is what's going to keep your business going. If you can't pay your bills, doesn't matter if you've got a lump sum coming through in 4 months, you're stuffed. So, you're going to have those problems. So that's what we want to look at. So the first thing you're going to be looking at is you need to be able to say, this is how much money we've made this week. Or this is how on track we are on how much we're going to make this month, whatever your reporting period is. But this is how much money we have made. Now, if you're not quite sure of that, that's one of the things that you need to be able to go and do. Have you got somewhere where you can have a look and go, this is how much money I've made in this time? Okay, so that's number one of the things. We just want that number. So how much money's come in, and then we want to know, okay, what expenses have we got that have come out, and what expenses do we know are coming up? Now, this is where it comes in a cash flow report, where you've got a track of, this is money that we're expecting to come in, this is money we're expecting to go out. So you can see at a glance, I've got to bring some money in because there's some big expenses coming up. Or that's okay, I can make sure that we don't spend money on something else this time because I'm going to need that for here. So what we're doing there is, what you're really going to need there is a cash flow report that you've got in place. And that can be a simple spreadsheet. It could be a Google spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. It could be pen and paper. Doesn't really matter what method you're using, as long as you know what bills are coming up and you know what money's coming in. All right. So these are the things that you need to report on. So you need to look at that, and then you're going to have those discussions over, okay, what expenses are coming up, or what do we need to do to prepare? And also it's a good time for you to have a look at what expenses have come out and go, because we get a lot of recurring ones, and you may be able to go, do we really need that? Do we need that anymore? Let's have a look at that. How can we make this business run leaner? So these are the important things: money going in, money going out, just so you know that you are totally on track, and you don't have to worry about waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning going, can I pay my assistant? Can I pay myself? Can I pay, this bill's coming up. Uh-oh, what am I going to do? Or this client still hasn't paid me. Well, why haven't they paid me? What have I done to follow them up? Do I need to be looking at what my terms of service are? Those sorts of things. So you will find those red flags. Okay. So this is the important thing. So if you don't have that information to bring into your meetings, set up some really nice procedures so that your meetings can be run in 5, 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. So having that cash flow report. Now, the next thing that you want to look is take the next step back, because what we're looking at here is really the results of what has happened before. So the money that's come in is a result of whatever actions you've taken. The money that's come out and that you're liable to be paying for has been a result of past actions. So what you want to do in your money meetings now is take another step back and go, okay, what do I want to be doing for this next week, the next 2 weeks? What actions do I need to look at to see if I'm going to be on track for what I want to do? And so that's when you may be looking at, okay, how do I actually bring in the sales? Like, what is it? This is where you need to know what your key performance indicators are. Like, it may be, if you convert your sales through telephone conversations with people, how many calls did I have? If it's from running webinars, how many people turn up to the webinar? If it's from having conversations in the DMs of Instagram or through private email, if it's having those conversations and then that converts, how many of those conversations did you have? If it comes from people coming in through your funnel, how many people landed on your opt-in page this last week? So that you know, okay, is there something that I can be doing that's going to increase that? Now, if what I've talked about there is sort of like, whoa, I don't have any of that information, that's okay. That is okay. If you have a look at the business wheel template I've got for you, that's going to run over, so to help you to work out which are the areas that you've got those gaps in. So that if you don't know that now, well, then that's an opportunity, okay? This is an opportunity for you to be able to go, all right, I know that I need to be looking at this particular part here. So every time at my money meetings, I'm going to be going, remember, we're focusing on this little bit here. And so this is the thing that's going to lead to the increase in the revenue. So you can see how sometimes your money meeting, the ideal world, you will be able to go, here's a whole stack of money I made this week. Here's these minimal expenses. Man, I am good. That's what you may be aiming for and how you would be thinking all these meetings go in every business apart from yours. The reality is it's going to be, this went really well. Oh man, this sucked. Oh, we've got this big expense coming up. Oh, really? I didn't realize that I had a huge gap in that I didn't really have a good traffic source to be able to consistently bring in the sales. Or you know what? I've been getting people coming in, but I've realized, oops, I'm not actually converting the sales. So it just means that you're identifying these opportunities so you know what you can be focusing on for the next week, rather than it being a report card of, oh, you totally stuffed up there. It's you being able to go, okay, I've got control of this because every single week I'm going to be looking at this one thing and I know I need to take the actions. So I hope that that helps you there. I've been finding since we've been doing that, our processes for being able to keep a track on all of this stuff have really, really improved. There's been some parts of it that I have been able to delegate when it comes to the collecting of the information that I may not have had the systems around myself as good as they should have been. And I know every single week I'm still identifying a lot of things that I need to do to be able to bring that right information into that meeting. But I tell you what, you're never going to get that control if you don't actually have a process to actually review and plan and to report back. So that simple meeting, which to start with, it may be a meeting that's giving you then, okay, your job this week is to go and find out where you're going to get that information and how are you going to report on it. It might be my job this week is to go and look at, I've got to fix this plug, this hole, this leak in the whole things, which you can identify through the business wheel template, okay? That may be your job that you need to be doing, but talk about control, hey? That you know exactly where the issue is and you know that you can be keeping track of this every single week. Whether that meeting is just with yourself and then reporting back to your bookkeeper or accountant, whether that is going to be with the person who is also jointly responsible for bringing money in and responsible for decisions that things get spent on, that may be for them as well. Now, when it comes to all of this detail on, you know, the things that influence what's, you know, the success in your business, it may or may not be appropriate for you to give all of that information into every single week with your partner if that's not how your relationship works. But you absolutely do need to be looking at the money coming in, the money coming out, and identifying any red flags. And also, and this is the important thing, is identifying celebration points. Now, those celebration points can be about achieving particular financial goals, but they can also be around actions that you've taken to plug the leaks that you've identified in your business in those different touch points. So I'd love to hear from you. Do you do money meetings? And if you do, who do you do them with? I'd also love to hear from you if you think that there is something else that would be really, really useful to be including in those money meetings, because we're always refining the way that we do this. And so I would love to hear your suggestions as well. Are you looking at this and thinking, wow, I'm a little bit nervous because I can see this can actually be a point of conflict? I'd love to hear from you as well. And, you know, remember those resources that I've got there for you that may be able to help you with that. Because this is going to be not just a reflection of what's happening in your, in your business life. It's also going to be impacting on your personal life. Because the reality is, you know what you're doing in your business is there, you're growing it, not just because it's something that you love doing, but also because it is the vehicle that's going to help you to achieve your goals. And so this is going to be bringing up any kind of mindset things that you may have, and money's always the big thing that's going to be brought up there. So this is a tool that you can use to be able to create some kind of control where, money, this is, I'm taking control of you, baby, and I'm doing that once a week through a Monday money meeting. Okay, I would love to hear from you. Again, I've got those tools for you, the business wheel template that will allow you to be able to identify the areas that you've got the biggest opportunity. Notice I'm saying opportunity rather than problem, because these are opportunities, okay? So you've got that tool there to help you identify and work out which are the ones you're going to focus on first, because I give you that guide in there as well. And I've also got the links there for you to be able to have that 7-step process to have that conversation with your partner, so they'll support your dreams. So I would really love to hear from you about one, on how this goes with doing a money meeting with your partner if you have one, and also I'd love to hear from you about how you do this and how you're adapting this if you are single, that you're not having somebody that is jointly responsible for decisions around finances in your home. I'd love to hear about how that works for you as well, and advice that you've got for others, because that's not the situation I'm in, so I can only and see how it would be adapting, and it'd be great to hear from you as well. Okay, go get them, folks. Bye.